Back everybody, I'm Alt Money. Hope you all had a fantastic day out there. I've got a really fun video for you today. I think you're really going to enjoy it. I've got a few different clips that I want to play for you today, all bullish material on Stellar Development Foundation. Of course, we love the XLM coin on this channel, but I'm not going to do a whole lot of talking. There is a clip at the end that I did about a year or so ago on XLM, a video that I did that I want to tie into all this, but I'm just going to kind of play this content, let you enjoy it for yourself, and I will get back to you all tomorrow.
And slow. According to 2019 data from the World Bank, the global average cost of sending just $200 across a national border is around 7%. So many people and economies are dependent on high-cost remittances that the UN created a sustainable development goal to reduce the per-transaction cost of remittances to less than 3% by 2030. So this is where blockchain can help. Sending any transaction across a border on Stellar, whether the value is $2, $20, $200, or $2,000, is fast. Takes less than 3 to 5 seconds on average, and it costs fractions of a cent. To give the task force a live, real-world example of how Stellar creates this equitable access to the global financial system, I'd like to focus on Nigeria. It's the 6th largest remittance market at over $24 billion annually. So Cowry, it's a regulated fintech company in Lagos, Nigeria, provides cross-border payment services for the Nigerian market, and that's powered by Stellar. By tokenizing the Naira and integrating with the Nigerian Interbank Payment Network, Cowry developed payment rails that enable low-cost and instant payments into and out of Nigerian bank accounts. So their product, which is called NGNT, a digital asset that is backed one-to-one fiat Naira, is available on Stellar today for cross-border payments and digital asset exchange. Now, Cowry plays an important role providing access to Stellar in Nigeria. But then there's another anchor, we call them anchors, these financial institutions, that's on Stellar, this one in Europe. It's a fintech company called Tempo that issues digital assets backed one-to-one by the euro. So with Tempo and Cowry as endpoints, Stellar enables payments between the EU and Nigeria that are completed in 3 to 5 seconds, nearly instantaneous, nearly free to the developer.
Our best interests at heart. So why would I support such a project by holding their currency? Well, the same reason why I invest in smaller cap altcoins, to stack up on some sats. After all, it seems like centrally controlled digital currencies are coming, and the only way we can truly protect ourselves is by putting our wealth into cryptocurrencies we know and trust. In my books, taking advantage of the hype around banker coins like XLM is a good way to do just that. We can easily separate out the favourable short to medium-term tokenomics from the longer-term motivations of the Stellar Development Foundation. One can both appreciate the promise of Stellar's technology to transform global payments while still be concerned about the entities it is aligning itself with.
The phony bonds that were sold during the rail industry, you have an induction of new technologies, you end up with some levels of fraud.
Yeah, those use cases for me are the ones that, it's the reason why I'm here. When you think about what we can do to help those folks not have to use credit cards or bank accounts because they frankly don't have access to them all over the world is the reason why we focus on what we focus on at Stellar, and certainly pay attention to the needs and not try to use this technology as a square peg round hole kind of thing. It's not a technology in search of a problem, as so many people say. It is, there are problems this technology was set up to really solve. So one of the things that I noticed this morning at the House Financial Services was this dichotomy amongst, and I don't think it necessarily goes down party lines, but this idea that blockchain is something that we can just bypass and that we can just ignore and we can put away. Frankly, I don't even know how that would work, given that there are so many folks out there like you and I who hold Bitcoin and hold a lot of other things and are really invested in the technology. But I think the challenge that I see is that these use cases that you just highlighted and that the use cases that we focus on so much at Stellar, we don't actually see those grabbing the attention. How do we use those? How do we get those to grab the attention of these regulators and policymakers?
So, it's a really good question because the old guard is sedimentary, and the system, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. But then you say, well, the system's been broken. You had 5 or 6 banking crises over the last 100 years, and so, but that's it. It's the old guard. You were mentioning in testimony, there were House of Representative members, I won't name them, but they were railing on crypto. It's a pet rock. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's a this, it's a that.
One of them tried to call it a new name. I can't remember what it was, something with Doe. But yes,
Doji, I think he was calling it Doji coin or something like that. Yeah. So, listen, here's the thing. Like, I started as a skeptic. I'm closing in on my 6th decade. I'm going to be 59 in January. So I am a traditional finance person. I'm not I'm not a Luddite, but I'm not Mr. New Technology early adopter. Okay, I'm not. But where this caught me was, wait a minute, we've had middlemen and women in our commerce since the beginning of time. We've had money changers, we've had the banking system, we've had lenders, we've had all different types of people. We don't trust each other, which is why we go to a third party for our currency, right? And then we say, okay, well, the government's going to give us our currency because we don't trust each other. We're not in the basement with a crayon making our own currency. So I guess where I'm going is, if you told me that we could decentralize this, that we had the technology to create a ledger, a fully transparent, distributed ledger that we could all use together, and that we didn't have to rely on the government, a third party, or a system other than a decentralized system, that is unbelievably powerful. That is economic.
I believe Stellar Network accomplishes every day a great job by empowering all the cross-border industry globally, creating different opportunities for everyone. I'm Ali Erhat Nalband. I'm the CEO and one of the co-founders of ARF. ARF is a global settlement banking platform providing licensed financial institutions and money service businesses from all around the world with fiat-to-fiat settlements, stablecoin settlements, in cross-border payments, treasury management, and also liquidity as credit lines. A lot of our team is in Istanbul, Turkey. It's our hometown. It's also a regional fintech hub, and it's a great location to understand both East and West. In current cross-border payments industry, all the expectations are at internet speed, and the current technology and infrastructures provide the ability to move the information, compliance at internet speed. However, the money and the value doesn't work like that, because correspondent banking takes time. The cross-border payments is a very capital-intensive industry because you have to have the money upfront in different countries in your partners' accounts. But the problem is, when you get bigger and if you are successful, you acquire new customers, you expand to new corridors, then you definitely need more money, more debt financing to facilitate all that volume. In ARF, we are approaching the problem in two ways. The first one is using Stellar's protocols to make USDC settlements in real time. Money service businesses can use our APIs to get access to Stellar's APIs. So for that to happen, as a part of Stellar's network, we are acting like a meta anchor, enabling them to on-ramp, off-ramp, and use the Stellar protocols in a fully compliant way, without requiring them to build any kind of new rails or any kind of new partnerships. On top of that, we are also providing the credit line in stablecoins, in USDC, which allows money service businesses working with ARF access the liquidity they require for that corridor for every transaction they send. With the help of USDC on Stellar, now not only the information and the compliance information, sender beneficiary information is at internet speed, but also the value is at internet speed and moved in cross-border in different countries in seconds. ARF has 500 money service businesses and financial institutions from all around the world in its pipeline, now processing around $60 million per month volume, with the potentially increase in $250 million per month at the end of this year. Most of the time, as you can imagine, licensed institutions are struggling to staying in the business, keeping up with the compliance and regulation. But with Stellar Network, the ecosystem is full of like-minded, enthusiastic people who are interested in really using and benefiting from Web3 tools in cross-border payments industry, and not only by learning or trying out themselves, but also helping each other to understand and move forward.
We have been consolidating for a very, very, very long time, but I want to get into why I believe this is that pressure cooker I have talked about in the past, and why when
so this was over a year ago, hopefully not too cringeworthy,
but just to go to show you that I have stuck to my guns, and I have been with Stellar for years now. 720,000 followers, guys. So there's not a small following of Stellar. Many of you out there know what they are capable of, what they are doing with this advanced technology, and how really many investors are gradually coming in on board and getting into the coin. Now, I've talked about this in the past. Is XLM Stellar the best at marketing themselves? No. And why is that? It is because they focus primarily on behind the scenes getting into certain partnerships that will benefit them, will benefit you as an investor in the future. So if we take a look at some of the partnerships, I'm not going to go through every single one, but literally the list goes on and on. Of course, we know Talia and MoneyGram and some of the bigger names here, Wire, that they have been able to acquire these partnerships with. But this whole ecosystem that is really built out globally is going to be the force driving this coin in the future. Now, again, going back to the marketing, how they have barely spent on their marketing budget, I believe this year, as they roll out the MoneyGram partnership, as it goes live on the Stellar blockchain, we will begin to see a lot of marketing funds getting pumped into the public globally, and this will be globally, to get that name out there. And again, we have 720,000 followers.
And so now that is exactly what we are doing. We are starting to market in a very, very heavy scale, and I have more faith now than ever with Stellar, and I will continue to put out XLM videos day in and day out because I see the writing on the wall. I hope you see the writing on the wall that these individuals behind the Stellar organization are moving the world forward. That's all I got for you for now. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know your comments and perspectives in the comment section below, and I will see you all in the next video.